previewing UFC on ESPN. Walt Harris versus Alistair Overeem. I'm your host, Preston Ekdahl. As always, joined by my co-host at Slaughterhouse1 on Twitter. Jeff, how we doing tonight?
What's up, everybody? We're doing okay, man. We're ready to rock and roll and look forward to tomorrow's card. It's an early card at 5 o'clock.
Yep, yeah. No cancellations too, which is big. That's
Well,
been the
they
case.
almost dropped song earlier, but they had
Visa.
Faber ready to go. Oh yeah. And Mike Davis dropped out.
Yeah, they got a replacement, but there's no line for that one yet.
Yeah,
So.
no line for that one yet.
We can. Do you want to recap what happened last card, or?
Yeah, last card was a little bit tough, but we came out with the live stream. We came out awesome. We got the big dog with Arvlovsky.
Yeah,
plus
Arlovsky
200
went up to 200. I had him plus 130 in a small parlay, so that's nuts how high he went.
I mean, that was kind of a back and forth trade, but Arlovsky definitely got the better end of the trades, the combos, quicker, you could tell.
Yeah, he looked good. Yeah, he
looked good. Yeah, he got rocked a few times, but his chin held up. So, and then we hit, of course, what should have been everyone's monster bet, and I don't know why we didn't put more in it, but Omar Morales.
Yeah, Morales looked good. Yeah,
I mean, he looked good. Although he didn't look as good as I thought he was going to come out and dominate, but he looked pretty good. And the other guy was tough as nails.
His
took a beating.
They showed his shin.
His shin,
like where it went to the bone. Yeah, that was sick.
Man, that looked like oh god.
Yeah, that was sick. And then probably the other good one was probably Drew Dober. He looked very good.
That was the max bet play for me that night. Drew Dober, I took it, I rocked it. Man, he came through. I hate doing that because Ohana Nation's down here in San Antonio, but you got to go where the money's at. So
yeah,
Dober looked good. Props to everyone that was solid on him from the get-go. And also we hit the over in the Smith fight, which arguably could have been stopped probably early second rounds.
Yeah,
maybe late second round.
Yeah, when he got dropped, and then it went to the fifth, and it sucked because we had Smith. I know a lot of people had Smith, and he looked very good the first round. Then he started gassing out, and then he got dropped, and then he just couldn't stand up anymore, and it seemed like he was lost. So that was a tough one down the night. That's again, as we said, underdogs in the main events. They cash. That's the second one since we've been back from quarantine. We'll see how it looks tomorrow.
I know. Now it's kind of scary to take them tomorrow because I'm like, fuck, is there really going to be 3 underdogs in a row?
And this is a coin flip. So, I think this is more of a, depending on how your night goes, maybe take a stab with Overeem. But, we'll try to lead you in the right direction here. We'll begin at heavyweight with Dontel Mays taking on Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira. Jeff, do you have a look here aside? I know it's a pretty close line.
Yeah, it's basically a pick 'em. Nascimento is minus 110 and Mays is minus 120. The over and under is 1.5, minus 135, and under is plus 105. I do have a take here. I like to start off strong with Rodrigo. I really think he's going to get this thing to the ground. He's a pretty big guy, but he pushes forward, a lot of pressure. Awesome jiu-jitsu game. I mean, I think if he gets this to the ground, it's night Mays. I mean, he's got to go night. Mays looks okay on the feet, not great by any means, but he's got some good little combos. He strings together some decent boxing, but I don't see him winning this fight at all. I'm gonna start off big on Rodrigo as one of my best bets.
Yeah, so I'm gonna agree with you there. Mays has had the tougher competition so far. His last fight was against a pretty well-regarded prospect in Cyril Gane. He's a solid heavyweight. But again, this is your pretty typical striker versus grappler fight. We did see last card a striker grappler with Michael Johnson versus Thiago Moises, where Johnson dominated, but with the grappler, just takes one false move. He can, get something and tap him out, and I like it.
And I don't mind Mays, but the one thing I've noticed in tape is his takedown defense is pretty bad.
Yeah, he was going for a lot of flying knees and just putting himself at risk.
Especially with someone like this that will grab a leg and take you right down. So
yeah,
my only way to bet on this is going to be the minus 110 on Rodrigo.
Yeah, I agree. I do like Nascimento in the opening fight.
I don't really think the over and under 1.5 is horrible. I could see him rolling around for a minute. I mean, any kind of MMA match, you would think that you could do a little scrambling, but I don't know. This guy Nascimento is on a whole different level. So
Yeah, I think it depends on how durable or if Mays can just keep the fight standing for the over to hit.
yep,
So, yeah.
cool. Let's move on to the next fight. We got Cortney Casey versus Mario Ramela Borella. Casey comes in at minus 155. Borella comes in at plus 125. Over and under 2.5. Over minus 415 and under plus 315. So you know where they're going with this. All women's fight usually go over.
Yeah, decision. Yeah.
This is probably two of the worst fighters in this division, I would say. They're pretty bottom ranked. Man, I don't know what to do on this because I wouldn't play on it. It's kind of a dog or pass. You almost have to. But part of me thinks Casey, if she has any kind of game plan, she's going to go out, use her wrestling. Borella has horrible takedown defense, and you can get Borella to the ground and just hold her there.
Yeah, so initially I thought Casey was a pretty solid bet, but then I started watching more tape, and like you're saying, both these girls are pretty bad. Neither one sticks to a good game plan. Borella, I think her last fight, she looked okay at the beginning. She was throwing leg kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Then she kind of gassed out. She didn't look great. And Casey just has a little more pop, I think, in her punches. I think she can steal the rounds, so to speak, and probably win a decision. I know the line has dropped, not dramatically, but I thought Casey opened like 180. She's down to like 150.
Yeah,
But
she's minus 155 with my bookie.
yeah, but I don't think I personally I'm not going to bet this one. But you know, it's probably both girls need to win. So
Yeah. No, both girls definitely need to win. Casey, I think, just has a little bit more ways to win as far as stand up and on the ground. Borella's kind of a one trick pony. She's all kicks, a little bit of not really stringing together a bunch of combos and things like that. But Borella does have, I think, the length, right? She could use kind of the range with her legs.
yeah, I think so. Borella came in a little more well regarded, and Casey wasn't, and Borella just hasn't lived up to the hype. So I think this is night Borella. Go back.
I do too.
Take your papers.
I think Casey does have the edge here. I'm not betting it, but Casey all the way. Next fight, we got Darren Elkins versus Nate Landwehr. Landwehr, minus 135 for Elkins and plus 105 for Nate Landwehr. Over 2.5, under 2.5. Over is minus 185. Under is plus 135. Who you got, Preston?
So this is for me. This is pretty cut and dry. It's if Elkins isn't completely shot, because if Elkins is still serviceable, he should roll Nate Landwehr. Elkins has had some pretty good wins. He came back. He was getting a beat down by Mirsad Bektik. He came back, finished him, had a lucky split over Bermudez, which I thought he lost that fight. But Elkins is tough. He's durable. He takes a lot of damage, but he also can give a lot of damage. He likes to use his takedowns, control the fight on the mat, elbow. Like I said, takedown. Nate Landwehr looked pretty not bad. He clinched up in his debut fight against Herbert Burns, put him against the cage, and Burns caught him with a knee, knocked him out. This is maybe the old versus the new, but I think Elkins just has a little more left in the tank. I think he's going to grind out a decision here.
Yeah, I agree more. You know, I don't really see the hype around Nate. He hasn't done much for me watching him. He has horrible takedown defense. He can scramble a little bit, get up to his feet, but I mean, I see Elkins just walking through some of these punches. Although he's known to get rocked, he does take damage. He can get dropped. That's the only way Nate can win here. Darren has a few different ways. He can ground and pound him, control the top, control the clinch with his wrestling, has fought in way more people, way more experience in the UFC ring. I mean, the guy, his last 3 fights, fought in good competition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Preston said, he takes a lot of damage, although a lot of it looks deceiving because he has a lot of cartilage on his face and he gets cut easy.
Yeah.
But So when people see bloods, they think it's just the end of the world. But I think Elkins walks through everything, man. Nate doesn't impress me. He kind of sloppy, wings a bunch of hooks, doesn't string together a bunch of combos. And like I said, is the one thing that really gets to me is his takedown defense. I think Elkins is going to string together his wrestling over and over and just try to grind this guy down to the ground. And that's why I laid $500 on him earlier this week. I saw him at minus 130, so I locked him in early. I got Elkins all the way for 500.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Elkins, as long as he's not completely shot, should get this fight to the ground. And
He needs to
yeah,
win this fight, but
yeah, 3 losses in a row.
yep.
And his last fight, he just didn't look great against Ryan Hall. But Ryan Hall, maybe he's got some good skills that are very underrated in the stand-up game. So we move on. I think the replacement fight now, the Giga.
Yeah, that's it. Erwin Riviera versus Giga. Giga comes in at minus 340.
Oh, so you have a line. I
Yep.
haven't seen a line all day. Wow. Okay.
Rivera comes in at plus 265. Over and under 2.5, minus 130. The over under is plus 100, even money. I think this is clear as day. You got to get on Giga. I mean, you're not going to lay the 340, obviously, because anything can happen in a UFC fight, I guess. But if you got 340, I think it's the easy $100.
Yeah.
If
So
you want to lay 340 on them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I was trying to guess what the line would be just because it's such a late notice replacement. Because before what's his face? Mike Davis.
Mike Davis.
Yeah, before he dropped out, I liked Mike Davis, and he was 220 to Giga. So now Giga's laying 340. The only thing I know about this, the guy he's fighting, he's moving up a weight class, and he has 4 losses on the regional scene. I agree. I think Giga's gonna win. I just don't like.
And that's what I was about to say with Giga. He's going to have the size, the length. His kicks are pretty damn good. He has good. He got good takedown defense. He's been training a lot over at Top Gym, I think. Is it Top Team or?
Yeah, I think so.
He's got good straight jab. We saw him in his last fight with a nice, clean, straight jab.
Yeah,
he's been practicing a lot.
He beat Emmers, and I was on Emmers.
And
so.
I think this is a really good fight. I was going to take him. I was on the edge with him against Davis. The only way Davis, I think, could have won is just control him with the wrestling.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I thought he was gonna try. Yeah, punch him a bit and then take him down and beat him up.
But coming in off late notice, I don't think there's a chance. I mean, over 2.5 minus 130. I think I would take the under 2.5.
That's what I was gonna say. If you're getting a heavy favorite and you're getting 2.5 rounds, you would think he could get him out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Or the guy can gas out easy. There's all kinds of things. And he's going to be the smaller fighter. I don't know too much about Erwin, but like you said, this is what his second fight in the UFC or his first fight.
His debut.
His debut.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, I didn't even know he was on the board until just a few hours before the show.
Yeah, I that's the first line I'll be honest, I saw. So this is my first take on it. So yeah.
But I was on the fence with Giga anyway, so I definitely am on him now, and I'd like the under 2.5 plus even money.
Yeah, I would. I think I would take the under. Yeah.
Cool. Next fight. Let's move on. We got Kevin Holland versus Anthony Hernandez. I know a whole bunch of people are high on this fight.
Yeah, it's a pick'em.
Yeah, it's a pick'em. It's minus 115 each. Over 2.5 is minus 200. The under is plus 160. Go ahead. I'll let you go.
So Kevin Holland was not a super well-regarded prospect, but he's kind of well-regarded. He's long. He has very good length for the division. Sizable reach advantage. Problem is, whenever you watch him fight, if you're betting him, you're cursing at him because he puts himself in such bad positions to where he'll easily drop to his back or go for a choke that has no chance of succeeding. And then the other fighter gets on top, beats him up a bit, and then he drops a round when he shouldn't be dropping the rounds if he just uses his intangibles, his size, his length, his jab, his striking skills. He can easily be a lot better than he is. On the other side, you have Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who I was a little more high on than I should have been. I backed him when he got choked out in that first fight. He's just bigger, not big. He's just kind of a grinder. He he hasn't impressed me at all. Holland, I think, has a lot more advantages. I think Hernandez is going to try to take him down, control him, and grind out a decision. I'm hoping Holland, you know, especially because he got beat pretty not bad, but he got beat kind of bad by Brendan Allen, who is though a good prospect. He took him out, took him down, choked him out, looked good. Holland though, it's not a must win, but this is a fight he should win. So I'm going to side with Kevin Holland in a pick'em fight.
Yeah. No, this fight is a little bit tougher, but I feel very confident in Holland. Holland to me is just going to be the taller. He's got a 6-inch reach advantage.
Mm-hmm.
He's got good kicks, pretty good. I think he has the edge definitely in the stand up. The wrestling, I give the edge to Hernandez. Hernandez is pretty relentless in that regards. He's always going to move forward.
Yeah, I think he's just going to try to take him to the cage
and he is going to continue.
Him,
and Hernandez is a jiu-jitsu guy. Holland is actually a very good jiu-jitsu guy, very underrated, but he doesn't use it a lot. I think Holland has the advantage in every aspect of this fight, other than the takedown defense and his wrestling. I mean, if Hernandez wants to lean against the fence, get inside, get dirty, clinch him that way, he's going to be eating a lot of knees, I think. And, man, I like Holland here, man. He has to win. I put $500 already at the beginning of the week. To me, Holland just has every angle covered, except for the top control, of course, which could be an issue. But I think he has a good enough scrambles to get up, square off. You don't ever want these guys to really get in an engaging battle. I don't, not Holland at least, but I think with the 6-inch reach, it's going to give Hernandez a ton of trouble. He's got a pretty good straight jab, his legs. I mean, I see this. I'm all over Holland in this fight. I could see it going over as well. Holland in a decision, like Bresson alluded to. Holland, he makes stupid decisions. That's the only worry is his IQ. Hernandez, on the other hand, is a very smart fighter. Good wrestling all around. He's a good MMA guy. He's got some great upside potential. I just don't see it here.
Yeah, no, we're
let's go to the next fight. Yeah, this is a little bit harder of a fight here. We got one more fight, then we're gonna ring in Sports Keg Jason.
Yep,
he's gonna come in, but let's get on to this one real quick. This is a pretty tough fight for me. Kind of been hanging on this one all week. So we got Matt Brown coming in at plus money, plus 125. Miguel Bazoo, goddamn.
Yeah, Miguel Beza. Yep.
Yeah, Beza. Let's see. I can't even see what that.
He's like minus probably 145-ish, right around there.
Oh yeah, okay, my bad. I'm looking at the wrong freaking thing. Okay, minus 155. 55, okay. Matt Brown's plus 125. The over and under here is minus 140. The under is plus 110. So they're looking for what, a quick submission, a knockout, probably by Miguel.
I think they're hoping that Matt Brown's chin is cracked, and then Miguel Beza is going to use his kicks and his size to knock him out. Like you're saying, tough fight. Matt Brown is off back-to-back. Well, really just one win because before that he beat Diego Sanchez, but that was all the way back in 2017. So he came back, fought Ben Saunders. Beat him up pretty good. Got a finish there. Now he's fighting a newcomer. I got burned going against the vet Wednesday when I bet on Hunter over Kelleher. Kelleher dropped the young Contender Series guy and finished him. Miguel Beza, he's had 2 fights so far. His last fight, he actually looked really good. He has good leg kicks. Like I said, good length. Good jab. Matt Brown, though, is tough. It's all dependent on how old he looks.
He's got to be pushing, what, 40?
Yeah, he's 39.
39, Matt Brown.
And he's been in a lot of wars back in the day. So it's just, do you want to take the wily old vet to get another big, a name on his, resume, or do you take the young guy? I think Miguel Beza is going to crack him and finish him. But total pass for me. I have to pass this fight.
Yeah, this was a tough one. Beza's got the upside, of course, with, he's strong, long. He's got great kicks, knockout power. The problem I have with him is he doesn't ever put everything together at once, it seems. I mean, he's only had really, 2 fights to kind of
Yeah, he's had
go
one on
back.
Contender and one regular
I,
fight. Yeah.
just from what I watched, I wasn't that impressed. I think someone of Matt Brown's caliber can get him on the ground, submit him, avoid some of those one punch shots that Beza likes to throw. He's not a high volume. He's not a high volume combo guy. He's not going to show you a whole bunch of different looks, although he got some pretty good legs and flying knees, like Preston said. But Matt Brown's a true veteran, man. I mean,
Yep.
he needs this fight too, man, to go out, on top, or he's ending his career soon. I like Matt Brown. I'll take the dog here. I'm going to take the dog, and I think he can control him with his wrestling, jiu-jitsu, tap him out, ground and pound him. I'm going for probably a decision personally, but I think it's going to be a long kind of fight that Bezo does not want to get into.
Yeah, over 1.5 might not be bad.
Yep, because that's the only way for Bezo to win is a knockout punch, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
Matt Brown's not going to let him outpoint him. Matt Brown's going to get the fight to the ground if he gets to that point.
Yeah, and I mean, Matt Brown's been in with so many different guys where Beza shouldn't be anything new for him.
Yep. Cool, man. So let's get into the main card. We got a good one, and I have to admit, this was a pretty good main card. Let's get we got Sports Keg joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason should be joining us any second. We can haul. In the meantime, we'll shoot off our sponsor, Natural Heights. They're down here in San Antonio, Texas. They are off 1880 Nacogdoches Road. You can reach them at 210-592-1060. If you suffer from stress, anxiety, joint pain, PTSD, insomnia, arthritis, anything like that, these guys have everything you need to help you out. Something you have to take, live by, believe in, and it works, man. I'm telling you, I've been on it for 2 years now. I love the Charlotte's Web oil. Go see those guys. They're great. Also, if you need a bookie, you need to bet, you want to put in some big parlays, visit mybookie.ag. Put in our promo code.
Yeah, Pub Sports.
Yep. Pub Sports. And they're going to help you out there. So let's see if we got Sports Keg. Hey, Sports Keg, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, pal? How are you guys?
Jason, you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
All right, yeah. How'd you guys make out on Wednesday night? You make some money?
Man, on the live stream, I went kind of ape shit, and I ended up making a little bit of money because I lost my ass early on Azura.
Yeah, if Hunter Azure would not gassed out 2 minutes into the fight, I would be a very happy man. Arlovsky was good, though. We had Arlovsky.
Yeah, Arlovsky was our big dog, and then, of course, I had the $1,000 bet on Dober, which came in good. Like I said, though, if Azure didn't blow that for me, I'd be sitting very, very pretty. But instead, I made out, $300, I think.
I did pretty well. I went like 5 for 7. I was up about probably 3 dimes, but that last fight I was on Anthony Smith. But I had Kelleher, I had Arlovsky, I had Dober. But Anthony Smith wins the first 2 rounds of that fight, and then he gasses out. I don't know what he was doing. The pace that he set in that fight was ridiculous, considering it was a 5-round fight. But the Pub Sports radio pick was over 1.5 rounds minus 180. We got that home.
Yep.
In the article.
And your parlay hit too, didn't it?
Yeah. So it was a good, the last couple events, Jacksonville's been good to me. Hopefully tomorrow, one more. And
I think it will be, Jason. I think it's going to be good to all of us.
Well, let's hope.
Let's fucking hope. That's right. All right, man. Well, let's get into this card. Hey, before we do that, were there any major, anything exciting about the last fight? Anything that happened you thought would go differently? Anything you're shocked by, or did you get a chance to watch much of it?
I didn't watch. I went back and watched the replay of some of the fights. What I take away from the last fight night is it's the 4th consecutive time that I've bet a fight with Glover Teixeira in it, and I've lost. I cannot win a bet with that guy. He just keeps proving me wrong time after time after time. So, but all in all, it pretty much went down as I expected, aside from the main event.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I've had a very hard time with Glover, and in fact, I don't know if I'd ever doubt him again at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Well, let's move on. We got a pretty good main event. When we start off with some strong names here. We got Song Yadong versus Marlon Vera.
Yep.
The odds for my bookie are coming in at minus 195 for Song, and Marlon is plus 160. Over and under 2.5, minus 140. The over under plus 110. Sports Keg, since you're just joining us, why don't you give us your take on this?
Yeah, you don't often see a fight where a fighter wins 5 fights in a row and is a plus 160 underdog in the betting market. That's just not normal. But that's what we see here. Chito Vera just doesn't get respect. I think he deserves it because I don't think half the fighters in the UFC could put together a 5-win fight streak, and he has. So, I mean, he's won 9 of his last 12. But I do understand there's a ton of hype behind Song Yadong. His technique's really, really good. Fundamentally, he's got a really good boxing game, whether he's in the pocket or at range. His footwork in the cage is solid, and his power wrestling game is a lot to deal with. But all that said, man, Chito Vera gets no respect. He's been an underdog in a bunch of the 9 fights that he's won out of the 12. And I give the edge to Song Yadong without question. But like I said on another show, I am not interested in laying over $2 against a fighter that's won 75% of his last 12 fights. So I'll be looking probably, I would assume, in the prop market, see if I can find an angle. But if I had to give out a pick right now, I have to take the dog. I have to take Chito Vera at that price.
No, I hear you. I mean, it's hard to back. It's hard to, yeah, like you said, shy away from someone that's put together a 5-win streak. Granted, you could argue that the competition wasn't that great, right, Jason? I mean,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, the 5 fights that he's fought, I guess the best name on there is probably Uel.
Yeah.
I mean, so
I think
I get it though. I get it. You take your back to Cheetah. I mean, it's over, dude. That's the scary part. And he is sneaky good on the feet. I mean, a lot of those guys are. Preston, what do you think? I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, so this fight reminds me of the Ricky Simone Rob Font fight, where it seemed not that the wrong fighter was favored, but that the line was too wide. But when you look at it, with who Song Yadong trains out of, with Alpha Male, with his wrestling, I think that's the big deciding factor. Vera's look good. Vera's look very good with good stand-up, good kicks, good knees, good elbows. But Song looks pretty powerful, looks like a beast. Frightening power with some big shots he can land on the feet. Initially, I was with you. I was going to take Marlon Vera. Then I watched a few more of Song's fights. Yeah, his last fight was a draw against Cody Stamann. But Cody Stamann's a good, solid fighter, good grappler. Song held his own. I think Song will win a decision because if Vera can't get him off him for the fight, I think Vera has to leg kick him and really try to hurt him. If he can't get Song off him, I think Song can just close in on him, grab him, try to get him down, smother him, and take a decision.
Yeah, I can see that, man. I can see both ways because Marlon, like you said, if he can kick, and then just try to take that front leg out to weaken some of that power of Song, I think that would be a great game plan for Marlon. Other than that, I do think Song has the slight edge. Of course, he has the edge, I think, in wrestling. And he is going to be stronger, has the more power.
And this fight's up a weight class.
But you do think Song is so damn young, and it just takes one little mess up to get caught by Vera. I mean, he can put anyone in a choke from the back and get him out. With that being said, man, I got to go Song here. I think I just see a little bit more upside. Although the 195 doesn't look as juicy as the plus 160 and something in a fight that I think that close, I'm going to favor Song in a decision as well. So let's move on to the next fight.
is Christoph Jacko versus Eric ya boy Anders.
Yep, Eric, your boy Anders. So Anders comes in at plus 120. Jacko's getting minus 150. Over and under 2.5. Over minus 195. The under plus 160. What do you got, Preston?
Yeah, so Jacko can, if he doesn't get put to sleep, he can put me to sleep. This guy is pretty lousy. I don't want to say he's lousy, but he just doesn't do enough. And Anders is so frantic with the way he fights, trying to land that big punch, hoping to just like overpower his opponent. I think Anders hopefully clips him. Jocko's been dropped. He's been finished by Brad Tavares and Uriah Hall. Yeah, he's more technically sound than Anders, but I see this one as Anders rushes in, eventually taps him on the chin and drops him and finishes him. Anders,
You think that comes inside of 3 rounds?
yeah, he has to.
If it has to, then that's a good bet. Under 2.5.
I mean, Anders looked. What was it where he got killed? Roundtree. Yeah, Roundtree. Where he's.
Oh yeah, that was a beating.
That was nasty.
Yeah, but then he came back. He got a layup fight. I know he knocked a guy out real quick, and then he won a debatable decision versus another guy who I think is technically better than him, and Gerald Mearshart. But I think Anders, I don't want to say he got his game better, but he maneuvered better. He like used his gas tank. He got a better gas tank. I think Anders ends up clipping him and winning, and I will take him as the dog here.
Jason, Sports Keg, what do you got?
Yeah, I hate this fight from every perspective. The fight doesn't excite me, even from a handicapping perspective. I hate it. And I don't know, like Eric Anders, he doesn't really impress me at all. I know he's coming off the win against Mearshart, right? But the guy seems really limited. Like, what does he have other than a powerful overhand left? Like, he's supposed to be this really, really big power striker that could just murk you, right? But that's a pretty limited power striking game if all you have is an overhand left. He's not a grappler, right? He has no submission game at all. I mean, he does have a solid top control wrestling game, I suppose. But, I mean, if he can get the opponent to the mat, you know, maybe he could keep his top control. Okay, maybe he wins the fight. That said, Christoph Jocko is nothing to write home about at all. I think the best thing about him probably is power clinch grappling game. If he nails his takedowns, I think he might also be able to control the fight. I think he's got a solid gas tank, much better than Eric Anders' gas tank, I think. So, but then again, Christoph Jocko has, been knocked out before. So this fight is just a complete pass for me. I have absolutely no interest in betting this fight.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Everything you said is what scares me about Eric Anders is he doesn't have much. The one thing he does have is he's got good takedown defense. He's a very strong guy. He's a ex-football player.
Yep.
I mean, very physical, and I think he's going to stuff Jocko at any attempt. And I think he does just enough, man. I'll probably hate myself because I'm not a big Anders fan, but I can't back Jocko. I don't like the guy. I don't like the way he pushes. I don't like his backing up and trying to, he gets dropped too many times for me, although he has been dropped against some pretty hard heavy hitters. So Uriah Hall, Tavares, Branch, Branch was a split decision. Okay. Man, I don't like this fight, so I gotta go dog. I'm gonna go dog just to have some plus money on the board, but I don't like this fight. I just think Eric Anders will catch him with the overhand left, something powerful enough to knock out Jocko.
Yeah, well, and the other, like Eric Anders has personally, he got robbed against Leo Machida. That was when I was living in Vegas. I had a decent sized bet on Anders. He was like plus 200. And of course, it's in Brazil. Let's give the fight to Machida. I don't know. I'm with you. I hate I don't like the fight either, but I'm hoping Anders can catch him. And Anders doesn't really lose to like horrible fighters, and I think Jocko is pretty run of the mill. I think this is a fight Anders can win.
Yep. Okay, man, let's move on. We got three more left. Here's probably one of the more exciting fights of the night. I think a lot of people's fan favorite here, Edson Barboza, and let's see what let me pull up. Dan Egg, Edson Barboza. You got Barboza minus 140, and Dan comes in at plus 110. Over under 2.5 minus 170. For the over under plus 140. Sport Keg, what do you got in this?
Yeah, I like this fight a lot. I went against Barboza when he fought Paul Felder in his last fight, because as much as I like him, I do think that Edson Barboza has taken a lot of damage over his career, and I think we might be seeing the beginning of it showing. We know how good he is. We know, like, Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida coach him up. And if you have those guys, you're already in good shape no matter when you walk into the cage. If you allow Edson Barboza to stay at range and he could piece you up with his combos and those ridiculous leg kicks, then you're in trouble, right? But Paul Felder beat that by making sure he was inside the pocket and inside that kicking range. And that's why he won. I do think that Edson Barboza is susceptible to really good striking in the pocket. I think he tends to fall apart a little bit. Now, I like Dan Ige a lot as a prospect. I'm a big fan of the kid. I was on him against Mirsad Bektik last time, and I really am tempted to take a shot again. He sets an incredible pace. We know that. We know he's got a nasty striking game. He has the ability to fight you at range. More importantly, he's got the ability to fight you inside. And I like his hand speed, and I like his counter striking game. And on top of that, we know that he's a really, really, really solid wrestler. I like his top control a lot. If I had an issue with him, I do think that he's susceptible to defensive lapses on his feet. And the other factor, which I was on another show and my guy Dave brought up, was it's a different weight class for Edson Barboza. We don't know how that will affect him. I do think that people are sleeping on Dan Ige. I really do. I like him a lot. So I gave that show out. I gave that pick out on another show, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to take a shot here with the dog and Dan Ige. I think he can get it done.
Preston, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think a lot of this is reliant on the weight cut for Barboza.
I agree.
With him dropping those 10 pounds. Well, I personally didn't think he looked that bad. I know some people think he looked pretty bad, but Barboza's size he's a big guy at 145. Iggy's not. I mean, Iggy, so I watched his against Bektik. Yeah, he clobbered Bektik pretty good, and then he kind of just grappled with him. I think his goal, if the fight stays on the feet, unless he gets inside and clips him with like a left hook or some sort of short power punch, I think he's going to be eating leg kick after leg kick after leg kick. And I like Ige.
If he stays at range, you mean, right?
Yeah. But even then, I didn't think Barboza looked horrible against Felder.
I agree with that. It was a close fight.
Yeah, I think people are slightly underrating his ability to take his shots. Yeah, he got one punch shot against Gaethje. I had Barboza against Gaethje. Barboza closed the favorite, and Barboza looked horrible against Kevin Lee. He just got taken down and beat to hell. I don't see Ige being good enough to just grapple Barboza and take him down at will. I think Barboza leg kicks him, jabs him. Ige tries to come inside, clinch, not even clinch him, but kind of body shot, head shot him. I think Barboza avoids it. As long as Barboza has a gas tank, I think he wins the decision. If he doesn't have a gas tank and maybe his chin, because I mean, there's always like that rumor that if you drop down weight, maybe your chin goes too, and then Ige clips him with one solid shot. Ige could knock him out. I think that's the way Ige personally would win if he can clip him with like one hard shot, because he does hit hard for the division. But I'm just gonna go with Barboza. I don't think he's entirely done. I don't think he's shop worn. This happened last time. He was the dog to what's his face, Hooker, and he beat the hell out of Hooker.
Oh, he killed Hooker.
Like, he murdered Hooker.
That was that was something that should have been stopped before it even started. I mean, he was getting killed that second round.
Yeah, and that was one where I was shocked that he was the dog, and I had Barboza. We had that Barboza in that fight too. Now, Ige isn't Hooker; they're different fighters. But I don't know. I personally don't see Ige just running through Barboza, clipping him, taking him down, beating him up. I mean,
I don't either.
He looked good against, I would say, the last like solid striker, so to speak, would be Kevin Aguilar. But Kevin Aguilar is more of a boxer. Ige took his shots. Ige dropped Aguilar. Ige does have decent power for the division. And I just personally, I think I got to take Barboza here. I have to.
Yeah. No, I agree with Preston, man. Barboza, if the thing that does it for me mainly is we all know about Barboza. It's got some of the best kicks, very underrated black belt, but he is a black belt jiu-jitsu because we Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but we don't see a bunch of it. He usually doesn't have to go there. But dude, look at his last 5 fights. Felder, Gaethje, Hooker, Lee, Khabib.
That's fair.
I mean, his last 5 fights are the best of the best, and he's going down in competition a slight bit.
Let me ask you a question. You think, I mean, he's gone through a lot of damage in those last 5 fights. You think he's coming back himself and going down in weight?
That's the problem that I have with.
Well, my deal is if he was so bad, I think Felder would have knocked him out. He took some hard shots from Felder.
Yeah, he did.
He did take some hard shots from Felder, and he could have won that fight. It was a close split decision. I mean, that could have gone either way, really. But, dude, I just think Barboza has a little bit more, with the kicks, the range. I don't care if he dropped 10 pounds tomorrow. He's going to be the bigger guy in the ring. And Ainge, although he's put together a 5-fight win streak, and he got some great solid power, awesome wrestling. Man, I think if Ainge wins, it's more of a decision type thing where he does, like you said, Jason, he gets on top control kind of that way. I think Barboza's he's going to avoid that big knockout that everyone thinks. It's hard to rush somebody that's constantly throwing kicks. And that's where I'm banking on Barboza, getting back to those solid kicks, keeping them at range and trying to play that game. So I'm going with a slight favorite here. I'm going with Barboza. And that brings us to the next
co-main
event. We got Claudia. This is a good one too. Angela Hill and Claudia Gadelha. She's coming in at 220. Hill's catching plus 180, over and under 2.5, over 355, under 280. Jason, what do you got here?
Yeah, I think this is a really, really tough fight. I think that we know what Claudia Gadelha is. She's a veteran that's been in there with the best of the best, and she's been impressive. I think she's one of the best grapplers probably in the history of women's MMA. I think her stand-up game, though, is serviceable at best, far from elite. And my biggest problem with her lately is she has a real problem with stamina. It seems like she gets tired in that cage a lot earlier than most female strawweights in that division. I think she's got a good 7 minutes in her, but I think the last 8 minutes of the fight, she's got real problems. And I think if that's the case, I think the pace that Angela Hill pushes is going to be a serious concern. I think we know what Angela Hill is. She's a very solid range striker that's keeps getting better. I think she's ascending, and she can bounce around that cage for 15 minutes straight. Her ground game is terrible. We know that. And her takedown defense is okay, but not great. So I feel like I think Claudia probably wins the first round. And I can see a scenario where Angela Hill takes round 2 and 3. And I'm usually on Gedalia, but I think we see a repeat of what happened in the Nina Ansaroff fight. So she stayed upright, and she won a decision because Claudia gassed. And I think that, see, the problem when you're betting MMA is this. Sometimes you want to bet the better fighter, right? But the value in the line is what dictates what you bet. And do I think, even though everything I just said, do I think that Angela Hill does not have the best chance to win? Probably, yeah. I guess Claudia Gedalia probably has a better chance to win the fight. But this price is absurd. Like, Angela Hill should be in the plus 120 range at best. So I think that I have to take the shot with the dog here. And a big misconception about sports betting is everybody's like, oh, she's a parlay piece. So you don't want to lay the 220 on Claudia Gedalia, right? So I'll throw her in a parlay and that'll bring the line down. Yes, it will bring the line down, but you still don't have value in the line, because even though you're throwing her in a parlay, that parlay price is not what it should be, because the original line on the money line is skewed. It's off. So I have to take a shot on Angela Hill at this price. I just have to.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. Braston, what do you think?
Yeah, so this is a tough fight. As you were saying, so Claudia, yeah, her gas tank has been bad really since she literally murdered Karolina Kovacevic. She's looked horrible. She got a debatable win against Carla Esparza. She dropped a fight against Nina Ansaroff. And her last fight against Ronda Marcos, she probably should have rolled Ronda Marcos, and it was closer than it should be. On the flip side, Angela Hill, she fights. We make the joke all the time. She fights every month. I mean, you turn on UFC.
She's the cowboy version of the women's version of cowboy.
Yeah, you turn on the UFC. Oh, it's another Angela Hill fight. What's she? Okay, she's around minus 170. I'm sure she'll kickbox her way to another, decision victory, which usually what happens. So this fight, it is pretty dependent, because I had a bet on the bet on her over Randa Marcos. I was like, she's gonna kill her. She'll easily win a decision.
And I had Marcos that fight.
She gets taken down pretty easily, tapped out almost immediately. I'm like, what the hell's happening here? Like, what's going on? Since then, she has looked better. I think her best performance was when she took out Hannah Cyphers, where she got her down. She got on top and she just elbowed the hell out of her. Hill's looked better. Gedalia has looked worse. I see where you're going with the line value. It's more if Gedalia can get back to where she was with her grappling to win the first, and to take her down and tap her in the first round. If she can't, I do think Hill will out kickbox her rounds 2 and 3. Man, I can see Hill winning this fight.
It's tough.
It's a tough fight.
Yeah, it's tough, because I like Claudia, and Claudia has fought the best of the competition compared to Angela Hill. I'll side with Hill right now, because if I were to bet, like what the bet was with Arlovsky was plus 200, and debatable decision online, which I've heard, even though I thought Arlovsky won, that was a good bet to make. And I do think if you bet Hill here, you're more than likely not biting your fingernails as much as laying whatever, like 840 to win 400 on Claudia, something like that. So I will side with Angela, hoping she doesn't get wrecked in the first round. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, I'll be on the opposite of the fence here because I'm all over Claudia. I think she's going to chain wrestle the hell out of Hill. It's got to be her game plan. She's a very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Man, Hill, to me, I'm not as high on her as everyone else is. She's strung together, 4 wins or something like that, and they haven't been all that great. Very impressive.
Yeah, to me,
although her striking's gotten a lot better, I'm gonna give her that.
Yeah.
But like you alluded to, Sport Keg, her takedown, her ground game is just horrific, and I can't back that against someone of Godella's stature and that kind of game.
Keep in mind though that she's only 6-4 in the UFC.
Oh no, I get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it 100%. And the gas tank could be a big issue with that.
Yeah,
and that's what scares me. But I think when you're a wrestler and more of that kind of you have a game plan of wrestling, dragging someone down to the ground, things can go more your way than if you're standing there trading with somebody when you don't know what's going to happen.
right.
For that reason, I'm going Claudia, and I'm not a big believer in not laying the juice. If you see something you love, by all means, lay that fucking juice. I'm going to be all over this. Call me crazy, but I'm not a big Hill backer. I'm just not.
I'm right there with you, man. Like I have laid some ridiculous prices. Like I have laid 9,000 to win 3,000 on Amanda Nunes. You know what I mean? I just think in this fight, I just think in this fight the line is off. That's all.
No, I agree with that, and I agree with the line being a little off. It should be a little closer. However, I strongly believe in Godella in this fight. I just don't see her losing this, and that's why I'm willing to lay that.
Yeah, I just have a little more issues because we've seen, especially the last card, with fighters gassing out that you wouldn't think would gas out, like Anthony Smith, like Hunter, where after one round, a round and a half, their hands are down by their side and they're eating shot. So if Claudia just gasses out even worse than what she's been known to do, you know, all Hill has to do is survive like 4 or 5 minutes, and you know her gas tank will be there.
You know what pisses me off more than anything about the MMA is when you see these fighters. I'm going to use Connor for example. That they run out of gas, and that's been kind of their Achilles heel, you know, through a lot of fights, the gas. Like, at what point do you start working on your cardio a little bit? I have to believe that Godella, if she has a good corner, I mean, they got to be working on that cardio every time they train, don't they? I mean,
well, you can say that, but look at perfect example. I am done with this guy. Thank God I had Charles Oliveira, but Kevin Lee. This guy, Kevin Lee, does not change how he fights the last 3 years.
I couldn't agree more. I am so high on Charles Oliveira. I love him.
Yeah, I love him too. Charles Oliveira has been like my favorite fighter for the last 3 years now. We got into it on some old episodes. Talking Hands.
Charles is a lock with Preston no matter who he faces.
Yeah, I love the guy, but Kevin Lee cost me so much money against Rafael Dos Anjos. And then I see he's the favorite against Charles Oliveira. I said on the show, he's going to gas out, quit, and get tapped out. What happens? Kevin Lee gasses out, puts himself in a choke, gets tapped out, then gets mad that he tapped out and pushes the ref like he always does and cries.
The only difference is Godella's don't have to worry about getting tapped out here.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a stand-up fight, but it's just some fighters, they don't change enough, or I don't know if they're not going to the right gym or what's going on. And that's my worry with Claudia. Has she already seen her peak? And is she now just fighting, you know, for the check, so to speak?
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's a tough fight, though.
Yeah, it's a tough fight. It's going to be a decent one, though. But let's move on. We got Alistair Overeem coming in with versus Walt Harris. Walt Harris is catching minus 150. Overeem is plus 120. The over and under here is 1.5. Over is minus 150. The under is plus 120. I'll tell you right now, just before I'm going to let Preston get in it, I like the over here. Over 1.5. I mean, hey, over's cash, man. Over's cash.
Over 1.5 at what price?
At minus 150.
Okay.
Go ahead, Preston. Now let's let Jason go.
go ahead.
Jason, we had Preston go last time.
I'm really excited to see Walt Harris, man, back in the cage. I have a daughter, so I could not imagine what that poor guy has gone through the last year with the tragic murder of a stepdaughter. And I am sure that he has a ton of emotional baggage, and he can't wait to get in that cage and let a lot of it out on Alistair Overeem. Like, technically, I enjoy Walt Harris, man. I think that he's got a very solid striking game. He doesn't really fight at range. He prefers to be in the pocket always. And his fundamentals inside the pocket are really good. Now, he's not a very good range striker. And if he stays at range in this fight against Alistair Overeem, he's going to get pieced up like Rosenstruck got pieced up. But he almost never fights at range. He's almost always right in your face. He's got great hand speed for a heavyweight fighter. He's got nasty leg kicks. And his ground game, I like a lot, considering he didn't go to college or high school and play in the sport of wrestling. His top control is really good. I mean, he's not a submission threat at all, but he really doesn't have to be. I mean, he just wants to pound you right into the mat. And, you know, we obviously, every casual fight fan knows Alistair Overeem. He's been the heavyweight champion in almost every single promotion that he's ever been in. Decorated kickboxer. We know how technically sound he is. But I was impressed with his fight against Rosenstruck. I thought that 24 and a half minutes of incredible work by him. Okay. But at the end of the day, we know his chin is terrible and his face was ripped in half. That's what happened. Right. But, I think that Walt Harris is going to put him down. I really do. I think he's a legitimate contender in this division. And, I could never go against the guy in this fight, considering everything that he's been through personally. I think that he's going to keep climbing the ladder, and I think he's going to tap that glass chin Alistair Overeem has.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, man. I love Overeem too. That's what's sad about this fight, is because he's one of my all-time favorite fighters. I've watched him, God, for as long as I can remember watching MMA. I mean, the guy's been around for so long. He's such a good striker. I always remember him with those crazy fucking knees, just blasting people.
Yeah.
And his last fight with Rosenstruck was unfortunate because he was piecing him apart. He did look good, and he was winning that fight. And, you know, some say that was a little bit early stoppage because he did get right back up pretty much immediately. But one, how can you fight with the lip that's tore apart? I guess there was only what?
Yeah, like
5 seconds left, so that doesn't matter. But two, I mean, you could almost see him unconscious on his way down. So maybe for that split second, the judge said, fuck this guy's out.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because he did win that fight, take away that punch. But, man, everything about me wants to root for Walt after what happened to him. Like you said, Walt's strength alone, he's a huge, big physical guy. He is going to be the quicker one, I think. He does have that inside boxing power with those quick hands. Although the thing I don't like about Walt is it's kind of all or nothing with him, it seems. I mean, like you said, Jason, he's not going to stand out there and he's not going to have some masterful game plan and try to outpoint Overeem. Overeem's too damn good to do that. So Walt's only way to victory is going to be a knockout punch. And I'm all over Walt just for the fact that I got to root for the guy, man. I really want him to win this fight, to have some kind of, I know it's not by any means justice, but for me, it would be some kind of justice in this world for what happened. I have a daughter too. And man, I don't even know how I would be able to fight. So
yeah,
it's pretty amazing that he's even out there smiling and he can move on.
I agree.
But oh man, it's not a cakewalk by any means. This could be somewhat similar to Rosenstruck, a long drawn out This is a 5-rounder. I don't know if we've seen Walt ever go 5 rounds. Have we? I'd have to look. He's fought in a lot of
I was gonna say this is probably his first main event. I would think.
But yeah, so Jason, I'm on with you, man. I'm going Walt minus 150. I kind of do like the over 1.5 though. I think they get through a couple rounds, fill each other out, and then it's lights out for Overeem.
You know what I think? I think that if we're thinking about how he wins the fight, right? I don't think he's going to beat Overeem on points. I think if it goes to a decision, he probably lost the fight. So I think that like Harris inside the distance, like around even money, is probably a better way to go than laying the 155.
No, I agree. Let me look at that prop right now. Preston, go ahead and give us your points while I'm looking at this.
Yeah, so Walt Harris is a fan of the show, so to speak. He was down here in San Antonio. We saw him right outside the bar.
He's riding a little scooter, one of those little
the bird scooter.
The
bird scooter. So he was here. He's looked great. The problem is he's looked great so quick. So it's hard to see how much better his overall MMA game has evolved to. So he clocked out Olenek and who was the other guy? Spivak,
Sergey Spivak, yeah,
who probably shouldn't be in the UFC. Overeem though, like we talked, like you were mentioning, Barboza might have a lot of damage. I mean, Overeem has taken damage beyond belief.
100%.
And that was a good point because I wanted to allude to this real quick. All week I've been hearing Elkins, Darren Elkins. Oh, he's taken so much abuse. He can't possibly win this. I've heard.
Well, he definitely has taken a ton of abuse.
Well, we know that. And then I hear the argument with Barboza. But and then you gotta, I haven't heard it once. Anyone once bring it up about Overeem.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of weird, but the guy's taken probably more punishment than anyone on this card.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you mix in his kickboxing, then UFC, and really before even UFC with Strikeforce and Pride.
Yep.
And he just bulked up, came into UFC, knocks out Brock, and I mean, Overeem's a perfect gatekeeper right now at his life. This is a good step test for Walt Harris. Do I think Walt Harris is better than Rosenstruck? Who knows? Rosenstruck got, I don't want to say he got not unlucky because he did. I mean, he got caught by Francis Ngannou, but a lot of people are going to get caught by Ngannou. I think I like Walt Harris. I think that's the deal too. I think Walt Harris is going to take Overeem's best shots early, and then eventually he's going to crack Overeem. I think the line is, I don't want to say the line's telling you something because it has been dropping. I think Harris opened a little higher. Money's coming in on Overeem.
Which makes sense, right? Because Overeem's such a big name.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Overeem's the name. He's the commodity. And yeah, he's looked good. But it seems like whenever Overeem steps up, he just gets dropped. And we've seen it where it's just one shot. I had Overeem against who was it? Stipe for the title. I was like, Overeem's going to beat Stipe. There's no way Stipe's going to win. Boom, he gets dropped and just pounded out like nothing. I think Harris, I'm going to side with you guys with Harris. If I could get, like you're saying, an inside the distance.
I don't see it inside the distance. All they have as a prop is inside the distance, yes or no.
I see it on another book at minus 105.
105. Okay. I see Walt Harris by KO, TKO, or DQ minus 110.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go with superstition, but the last two cards we've had big dogs cash in the main event.
Exactly.
Can a favorite get one here?
Get one here, yeah. Exactly,
and it's just like for, I guess, the morale too, so to speak. Like you just want Harris to win. Like Overeem, what's going to happen if Overeem wins this fight? Oh, he fights Curtis Blades again and gets dropped, tackled, and punched to death. I mean, it makes no sense. Like Walt Harris, at least you're building a contender, something like the heavyweight division needs it. Yeah, I'm hoping Walt can just crack him because I think Walt can take his shots.
Great, man. So let's get into our best bets real quick. just speaking of, people don't realize it because Walt's in such great shape, but he is coming. I mean, he is catching the older half of his. He's 36 years old.
Yeah, and didn't he?
He doesn't look like a 36-year-old. I'll tell you that.
He
looks,
fought at 205, right, back in the day.
yeah.
Like, so he's put on a lot of weight. I mean,
Oh, he looks big.
yeah, he looks like Phil Davis, another former UFC fighter.
Cool. So, Sports Keg, why don't you kick us off with your best bet of the night?
I'm gonna go with Walt Harris inside the distance at -105.
I like that. That's a good bet, man. I'm gonna text my bookie and see if they'll throw that up for us, which they claim they will do for us. So
yeah,
we'll have to hold them to that. Preston, how about you?
Well, I don't want to say I'm on an island, but I really like Barboza here. If Ige gets the win, gets the stoppage, Ige's right there. Ige probably moves to top 5. Maybe you give him Calvin Kattar, like a big name like that. But I don't know. I think Barboza isn't quite as shop worn as people believe, and yeah, I am taking Edson Barboza.
Okay. So earlier this week, prematurely, no, I'm just kidding. Not prematurely, but I've locked in this bet a while ago. Earlier this week, I've got Kevin Holland -110. I think he does enough to win this either by decision or a submission. I really am high on Holland. I just put him out for $500. We'll probably double down again during the live stream.
Well, and
depending if I can get Darren Elkins, who I also laid 500 on. I just think he's Jason, and I don't know what your thoughts are on because he came in late, but I think Elkins is just taking a little bit of a step down in competition.
I agree. I think he gets it done.
And I think he's going to just chain wrestle the hell out of this guy and do whatever it takes to win this match. So those are my two best bets. And I also just parlayed them up. I might as well.
Yeah, you got a guy here. Elkins is the play. So.
Yeah. So Elkins and Holland are my two favorite bets. And we will be doing the live show. Jason, are you going to be live streaming your fight cast on Saturday?
Yes, sir. I'll be live. I'll be live on Saturday, and then I'll be live on Sunday for the NASCAR race at Darlington on the Sports Keg YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Well, y'all go check him out on the Sports Keg YouTube channel. You can check us out at Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. We're talking hands. Again, our sponsors are Natural Heights CBD company here off 1880 Nacogdoches Road. Go check those guys out. Visit if you're looking for a bookie, mybookie.ag, promo code Pub Sports. Jason, we thank you for joining us again. We look forward to the next fight event we can get you on.
2 weeks, I think, May 30th.
And we hope that we all cash tickets tomorrow, baby.
Anytime, boys. I love you guys.
Appreciate it, Jason. Take care, man.
All right.
All right. We're done. Talking hands. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.